Speaking of food, Joe, you got a lot of stuff going on over there.
Yeah, that's right. David Karn is back on Studio 10, and he is with Back 40 Beer Company's Beer Before Breakfast. And as we mentioned earlier, a Studio 10 friend. You've seen her before on Studio 10. Tell us who we have here, David.
We have Bessie Laperouse from Laps Grocery and Grill in Spanish Fort, Alabama. Really excited. They are kind of a teammate with us in this whole Alabama Gulf Seafood movement we've got going on here, partnering with Alabama Gulf Seafood to really shine a spotlight on our seafood industry in Alabama.
There is nothing like fresh Gulf seafood, so delicious. Now today you're combining a whole bunch of different stuff for us.
That's right. Well, Bessie's going to be making a seafood quiche, going to incorporate Alabama Gulf seafood. I believe we've got shrimp and crab that are going in the dish, and then she's also going to make a peach beignet recipe using our Paw Paw's peach wheat, which is our spring and summer seasonal peach wheat beer. It is a delightful, if I can use that word, especially when talking about peaches. It's a delightfully crisp, great summer beer, a little bit fruity but not too fruity, the perfect amount of peach, if you will.
Now, you've been on the show before talking about beer before breakfast, and I think some people out there, if they haven't seen you before, might be skeptical about this combination. Why do you think it's so great to infuse some Back 40 beer into your breakfast selection?
Well, beer is such a dynamic product, and it is a dynamic food ingredient as well. I mean, I don't want to downgrade wine at all, but wine is pretty limited. You have only a few varieties of grapes out there and on different ways to make wine. Beer, there's just all sorts of different types of beer, and in America, finally, we're really truly appreciating that with this great craft beer movement that's really happened at a large scale over the last few years.
Yeah, wine is fantastic for pairing. You can do a lot of that, infuse it in some of your dishes, but you can also do that with beer as well, and that's what we want to get across today. Now, is this for me, or is that what's going on here?
I'll make you one, Joe, but I've been sipping on this. This is a kind of a beer mimosa. Actually, a beer mimosa is technically orange juice and beer, but we're just throwing out the juice altogether, and we're putting champagne and beer all together. So this is a heavy hitter here. But no, this is our Paw Paw's peach wheat. It's got that great fruity, citrusy flavor to it. So it's really going to impart some of that orange juice flavor into the mimosa. And then I've also combined it with our Naked Pig Pale Ale to get a little bit of that bitterness from the orange juice as well, just a little bit, and combine it together with the champagne, and it makes a wonderful breakfast drink.
Fantastic. How are you doing this morning, Bessie?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Great. Good to see you. I tell you what, in our next segment, we're going to have you start going to town here on that, and we also have a couple things to work on. You're just going to keep having fun and enjoying your own party here in the kitchen, right. I guess? Sounds good. All right, so we've got a lot to do here in the kitchen this morning. We're going to get started in our next segment and do a lot of work. Cheers.
Thanks. All right, Back 40 Beer Company has a new brew called Paw Paw's Peach Wheat. Laps sells Back 40 beer, so Bessie is here from Laps Grocery and Grill. We have David Karn, the host of Beer Before Breakfast, to tell us a little bit about the beer, and you're going to be making also some fresh Gulf seafood quiche this morning.
We are. We're really excited. You know, yesterday I was the one talking about, I was fumbling through my words about pairing with wine, and luckily Back 40 makes it very easy and lets you know what you should pair your beer with. And we're a proud Alabama Gulf Coast provider of seafood out of our seafood market, and we're open 7 days a week.
And the seafood quiche can be served really any time of day. So if you want to relax with Paw Paw's peach wheat beer, you can do that. And I know you have a beer mimosa.
Well, I mean, it's a seafood quiche, you know, traditionally enjoyed at breakfast, or at least for me. I've made a traditional, well, actually not so traditional breakfast drink that emulates a traditional breakfast drink. So, and when you're pairing with seafood, you want to, generally, if it's lighter seafood dish, a lighter fish, you want to pair a lighter beer with it. So Paw Paw's peach wheat works great.
All right, so what do we need to make this seafood quiche?
Really, you just need a 10-inch pie crust, and you'll fork it and pour in a little bit of the quiche custard, place it in the oven for 10 minutes so that you have your crust, and then you'll mix lump crab meat, shrimp, cheese evenly, and be sure to make it evenly distributed, but not to mess up the lump crab meat. And you'll pour that in. You will place it in the oven for about 30 minutes, rotate it, 45 minutes, you're done.
And you need to go ahead and set your oven if you're making this at home on 350 degrees, and we can go ahead and start mixing some ingredients.
Absolutely, and through the magic of TV,
Already have one done.
we do.
Voila.
And it's beautiful, and we are very much excited to be able to have the opportunity to pair it with Back 40. And let me tell you, this weekend it was fun having an excuse to pair good seafood with a great beer.
For sure. Now, you can get the recipe for the seafood quiche on fox10tv.com, Studio 10 page. When we come back, we're going to be making some beignets, peach beignets, by the way. And you don't have to go far to get Back 40 beer at Laps. They're on the Causeway, open Monday through Sunday.
Back with David Karn from Back 40 Beer Company's Beer Before Breakfast. And who are we cooking with this morning, David?
We've got Bessie from Laps over in Spanish Fort, and she's been working hard with a couple of our beers. We're actually really focusing on the Paw Paw's Peach Wheat, but I've tossed in a little bit of Naked Pig Pale Ale in our beer mimosa over here, which plug here, it's available in cans now, Naked Pig and Truck Stop for all you beach goers and pool goers.
Fantastic. Bessie, why are all our segments having to do with alcohol whenever you're on TV?
You know, I would like to say it doesn't reflect my personality, but maybe it does.
Maybe it does. Who knows? All right, so where are we at in this process? What are we going to work on right now?
Well, we're taking your quintessential beignet, and what we've done is incorporate peach wheat. And really all you do is put in your beignet mix, and we did peach puree and the beer, and you mix it all up. And really the main thing that to watch for is that it should feel kind of like biscuit dough. You can add a little more or less, but it's really, you've got to watch for the consistency. But once you mix it all up, you'll place it on a well-floured surface, cut it into 2-inch squares, place it and fry it.
And we have the squares over there, we have the frying here, and in the magic of television, we also have a finished product over here. If y'all could bring that out to show the folks what it looks like when it is all said and done. Take a look at that.
Right. It's really a very tasty dish. So if you ever have a chance to play around with beer and cooking, it's
and those are Alabama peaches too, aren't they, Bessie?
They are. They are.
Whenever you can keep things local, that is the best. Of course, talking about Alabama Gulf seafood, local produce as well, that is fantastic. That's what both y'all stand for with Back 40 Beer Company, being local here at Laps, using tons of local ingredients, grocers, seafood, all that kind of stuff. Always great to infuse that in all of your foods. Well, I tell you what, tell them how they can learn more about Back 40 Beer if they want, and I'm going to take a sip of this while you do that.
Absolutely. You can visit us at our website, back40beer.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all your standard social media outlets. Bessie, you want to give a plug on Laps here?
Lapsonthecauseway.com. We're open 7 days a week, so you can just come in and check it out.
And you can get Back 40 beer at Laps too. I know they've got peach wheat in, and this is hitting the market now in the 12-ounce bottles and in draft.
Go try out some of the new peach wheat at Laps. Combine everything we've done here in the kitchen, and all the recipes of what we cooked are online as well. Thank you so much. We'll be back with more Studio 10 after this.